Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of On Campus, right here on the Solano College Sports Network. I'm Greg Poff. I'm your host today, and we are joined by a very special guest to break in our new TV studio here on the campus of Solano Community College, former Solano College quarterback, and now entering his second year as the head coach at Rodriguez High School, Myles King. Myles, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for having me.
And of course, we're going to talk about your career and everything going on at Rodriguez as the head coach. But first, tell us a little bit how you got started with football.
Right. So I remember when I was just a young kid, there was a kid riding by on his bike. I was in front of my house playing football, and he was handing out flyers. So I remember I grabbed a flyer, took it in the house, took it to my mom, and we called the coach, and I was able. He told me to be at practice on Monday, so that's how my career started right there, right in front of the house. And
then you kept playing.
Right.
Ended up at Rodriguez, played there 2007, 2008, 2009.
Yes, sir.
Had a lot of success at Rodriguez. Tell us what stands out in particular when you reflect back on your career at Rodriguez High School.
Yes, I remember my 3 years at Rod playing varsity football. So I went straight to varsity as a sophomore. Coach Fishley, Coach Napata, they were great role models for us, great leaders. Coach Rodney. I remember they definitely installed in us the hard work, the summer training, and I remember being with my teammates, Jason Verrett, Michael Johnson.
Yeah, you had some big time players there when you were at Rodriguez.
Marcel Jensen, he actually just he came to the camp the other day at the school, so they've definitely been willing to give back to the community. So I'm just trying to do my part too.
Yeah, that's so cool to see, Myles. And then you came to Rodriguez after your career, came to Solano, played here 2010, 2011 as quarterback. Tell us a little bit about what you remember about your career here at Solano.
Right, so I remember when I came to Solano, I grew up a lot as a person when I came to Solano here. I remember first time I faced adversity as a quarterback. So I wasn't the starter right off the bat. I felt like I should, I still had a role. I played, but then my second year I ended up earning the starting position. And we had a really good season. We went to a bowl game both years, so we had some really good teams.
Yeah, I mean, Solano, they win the Bay Valley Conference 2 years in a row, and then, okay, I guess it's time to end the football program. Yeah, that didn't sit well with a lot of us. But, Myles, you were able to go on. You went to the East Coast in Maryland, played football there. Tell us a little bit about what you remember about being on the East Coast, and how was that experience for you? West Coast kid, born in San Francisco, here in Solano County. Now you're on the East Coast. What was that like? Right.
So my second year here is when I got recruited to Grayson University in Iowa. Me and the receiver,
Johnny Williams.
He's my offensive coordinator now. Yeah. So we both.
Johnny Rocket.
Right. We both ended up getting recruited to Grayson University, and we both. We did a great job out there. We ended up redshirting our first year, and then we hit the ground running. I mean, I had an All-American year, my junior and senior year, and Johnny was All-League both years, so we did really good.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you guys did very well here at Solano as well.
Right.
And so now you're done with your football career. You've got your degree. You're back in the area.
Right.
And so how did you first start coaching again? I think you started at Armio coaching JVs.
Actually, the first place where I coached, I knew I was going to coach because my offensive coordinator at Grayson University, me and him ended up being very close, Coach Braddock. He's still a role model of mine. We ended up being very close, and I told him I wanted to coach, and he took me in, and he told me what it was going to take to be a play caller and to be a head coach also. So, he really took me under his wing, and he's constantly checking on me, helping me. So, and he was a quarterback in Texas. So he was very sharp, and so he knew his stuff, definitely.
And so that helped you, and then
Absolutely.
you were coaching JVs at Rodriguez,
Right.
and then what events kind of led to you getting the head coaching job?
Right. So when I first came back, I actually applied at Armio first. Armio, Rodriguez, and Fairfield. And I said, whichever one hits me back first, that's who must want me the most. So Armio ended up reaching out to me within 48 hours. And Armio,
Well, they needed help.
well, I was appreciative toward them.
Yes.
Yeah, so they ended up reaching out to me, and they hired me. And they hired me as a JV assistant, and I came in, came in from Armio. They had been struggling. And I remember going to the weight room and just whatever the head coach needed me to do, that's what I was willing to do. And I told him I wanted to help change the culture.
And then how did you end up then going to Rodriguez and coaching JVs there?
Right, so I moved up quickly at Armio. The next year, he promoted me to the varsity head coach. To the JV head coach. He promoted me to the JV head coach, and then after that, we had a really good season. We ended up beating Napa for the first time since 1970. Of course, it was JV, but then after that, something told me that I knew that I needed to go home to my alma mater, to Rodriguez. So I knew I was going to go home. Ended up taking a job over at Rodriguez, and then I ended up coaching at Rod as a varsity assistant first, and then moved up quick to a JV head coach the next year. I actually did it for 2 years. And then our athletic director, Tracy Cortez, she hired me as the varsity head coach the next year.
So 2021, your first year as a varsity head coach.
Right.
You guys had a pretty good start there. I think you started 6-0.
Yeah.
That had to be pretty special. Tell us a
Definitely.
little bit about just kind of your experiences going through that first year
Right.
as a head football coach.
Right, so I definitely had fun with it. It was a dream of mine, so I definitely got to live my dream. That was a beautiful part of it. I would say the funnest part is the kids, just dealing with the kids on a daily basis, the relationships that you build with them. I mean, they trust me. They know that they're going to get the truth from me no matter what. And they know that. My staff, I was very careful in who I picked with my staff because I knew that the staff, that was going to be huge, and I needed people that were going to truly support me. And that's what I really have. So that 6-0 start, it didn't happen because of, it was no fluke. We have a beautiful staff that truly work together, and those are the results.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of your practices, and it's a really good vibe.
Right.
The kids are smiling, they're having fun, but you're
Right.
also getting work done. It was
Absolutely.
pretty cool to see.
Definitely.
And then, Myles, you're the head coach, obviously, but also you run the offense.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about your offensive strategy, and in particular, your play calling strategy. I was real impressed with your first year as a head coach,
Right.
running that offense. Really good job in terms of play calling.
Right. So we run a pistol. It's the same offense that from Grayson University, from one of my mentors, Coach Braddock. He really taught me the ins and outs of it. I mean, detail from every position. He broke it down for me. It like I said before, it's huge. You got to have a staff that trusts in your vision, and I mean, my staff, they know that I know what I'm talking about because I lived it. So a lot of times it's just making sure that the kids are learning, and like I always say to my staff, if you can't teach it to a third grader, then don't teach it to our kids. Right? It should be simple enough for a third grader to learn. Right.
And then tell us a little bit about your goals for Rodriguez and the program.
Absolutely. So, I mean, our goal, we want to win the state championship. That's our goal. We want our kids to become successful adults, right? Trustworthy people, model citizens. That's what me and our new principal, Ms. Cherry, that's what we just discussed, that we want our football players on campus, we want them to be leaders, right? We want them to be I mean, people look to the football program. The school looks to the football program. I feel like I've always felt like that. If the football program's going well, the school's going to be close behind. I always felt like that. So,
Absolutely.
Right.
And tell us, what do you enjoy most about coaching?
Everything. Right. I mean,
A good answer.
everything. You know. I mean, it definitely isn't. If you're in coaching for pay, you're in the wrong business. It's definitely. I mean, the fulfillment is when you see a Leroy Bryant sign his scholarship going to University of Washington. Going to the University of Washington. When you see a Gerald Sateza, you know, he's graduating, he's going to play for Santa Rosa. You know, that's where we get our fulfillment. Seriously.
What's the most challenging aspect of coaching on the high school level?
What's the most challenging part? I would say, well, if I had to choose, you know, I really don't. I mean, I really love my job. You know, I don't really look at it as work. I'm getting to do with what I love to do. Seriously, I mean,
Isn't that cool?
Right. I mean,
you know, go to college, get your degree, and now you're doing something you love, making a difference in the lives of others.
My wife, my family support me, so I don't really have too much to complain about, Greg.
That's so cool to hear, Myles. Hey, before we let you go, let's talk a little bit about your upcoming schedule.
Right.
We just put our tentative schedule together for Solano College Sports Network.
Okay.
And the first game we'll be doing, if we could get that up on the screen. I know you open on the road, but then our first game of the season on the 26th of August, you guys face in American Canyon.
Right.
That should be a pretty good test for you. They're
absolutely
pretty good. Maybe a little off here, so they're going to be good.
Right.
We've got you again in 2 weeks playing Napa, and then you look at that game September 30th to open the mail.
The big one.
Okay,
Right.
you guys will be traveling to Vacaville.
Absolutely.
So you've got a good schedule set there, and then you'll close the show, of course, against Vanden.
Right.
Well, Myles, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's so great having you back on campus, and really cool for us watching you and all the success you've had just to start your coaching career. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of success. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, Greg.
Well, folks, that's going to do it here for us in the Solano College Sports Network studio. And remember, here at the Solano College Sports Network, it's more than just sports, it's an education.